Hello, everybody. Well, we are only 3 days away from Saturday, September 23rd, 2017. So I wanted to talk about that for just a couple of minutes. It is going to be an exciting day. If you're not aware of what's going on, but maybe you've heard some talk about the date, what is going on is a unique event in the stellar bodies. This arrangement of the stars, the sun, the moon, the planets, has never happened before. It involves two constellations, Virgo and Leo, 4 planets, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, the sun and the moon, in very specific and particular location relative to each other. Now, that in and of itself is exciting. This is something that has never happened before as long as man has been on this planet. And this is a NASA can validate that, verify that. Now, some people believe that this same thing has happened many times, or at least sometimes, but in each case that has been brought up, there is something missing from the elements that make this different from every other thing. So that's exciting. This arrangement has never happened before. Now, let me say this real quick. We are talking about astronomy. Astronomy is looking at and studying God's creation. Astrology is very, very different. Stay away from that. It's dangerous. It is trying to apply watching and looking at God's creation to figure out how to foretell your future and your personality and all this kind of stuff. Stay away from astrology. But astronomy is very biblical and very good. God actually says in Genesis 1:14, he's going to use the moon, the sun, the stars as signs and markers for dates and years and all this kind of stuff. So Jesus talks many times about using those things. He said there'll be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. It'll be kind of silly to tell us that there's going to be signs for this stuff, whatever he was talking about at the time, but then you're not supposed to look at it. Well, that's just silliness. So, of course, we're supposed to study God's creation, and those are put there for us to use. So anyway, it's a unique event, so that's cool. What makes it infinitely more cool or interesting is God described this one-time event in human history in great detail in the book of Revelation, chapter 12. And I'm just going to read 2 verses here. A great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven. A woman, Virgo, clothed with the sun on Virgo, with the moon under her feet, that's kind of obvious, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. Okay, the crown of 12 stars involves Leo, which is always at her head, which historically is 9 stars. And it also includes the wandering stars, which is what the planets were called before they knew they were planets, of Venus, Mars, and Mercury, aligning with Leo to make the 12 stars above the woman's head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. That's a significant piece because the planet Jupiter, which is known as the king star, which stands for the Messiah, or Jesus, entered into what would be the womb of the constellation Virgo, guess what? 9 months ago. And it has been there in retrograde motion. It never left the womb for 9 months, but it's leaving this month. So that's very, very interesting. And that piece, the Jupiter piece, is the most common one to debunk the supposed other dates that people say that this arrangement has already happened. It has not. So anyway, it's very exciting. It's fun to know that this is a unique event and that God pointed to this one-time event, which means Saturday. God was talking about Saturday, 3 days from now, 2,000 years ago. Now, what exactly does that mean? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't think anybody else knows. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, the rapture is going to happen. No, I don't believe that at all. There's many reasons for that. Some people say that this can't be the sign because chapter 12 is in the middle of tribulation, and we haven't been in tribulation. Okay, that's wrong as well. Chapter 12 is not talking about the middle of the tribulation. Some people say that this event that's talked about in chapter 12 happened a long time ago, and it's got nothing to do with the stars and the sun and the moon, even though you can read about the stars, the sun, and the moon. I don't understand that, but yeah, I don't believe that at all. I think that God was talking about what would be a better sign to mark a point in time than an event that's described specifically that only happens one time in human history. So, but let's not confuse a sign with an event. A sign points to an event. A sign points to something. It isn't the something itself. When you're driving down the highway and you see a sign that says cliff ahead, well, that doesn't mean that there's a cliff at the sign. It just means that there's something coming up that the sign is telling you about that you need to pay attention to. That is the case with this. It is not the event. There may be nothing apparent happen on Saturday except for this amazing thing that has never happened before. Now, exactly what it means is something else. So don't be disappointed if you're not raptured out on Saturday. You're not going to be. And don't be dismissing it through some other illogical means. If you care, what I personally believe is this is very close to the beginning of tribulation. I have a lot of reasons for that. That is what this sign is right next to in Scripture, is the start of the tribulation period. That's different than the rapture. So does that mean the tribulation starts on Saturday? No, I don't think so. Heck, from what's going on in our world, it could have started at the eclipse, which usually a solar eclipse means judgment for the Gentiles. Wow, sure seems like it. 3 hurricanes that are stronger than any we've had in the past 12 years, 2 major earthquakes, solar flares, wildfires burning a third of the country, flooding elsewhere. I mean, it's just crazy what all is going on. So, heck, could some of this stuff have started August 21st? I don't know. I don't know that I believe that, but don't look for anything specifically, but don't miss what it actually is, which is a unique sign that God said was a great and wondrous sign. So let's take it for what it is. Enjoy that. You might want to download an app called Sky Map, and you'll be able to see the arrangement come together. Everything's real close right now, but Saturday, about 1:30 in the afternoon, everything's going to be aligned exactly as described in chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. And there's more, but I'm not going to get into it now. The red dragon, which starts in the next verse, verse 3, there's a lot to talk about with that too. Does it mean for Saturday? Not necessarily, but they're tied together. So a lot going on, and God was pointing to Saturday as a sign for his reasons. I don't understand them fully, but it's important. All right, love you guys.